What's going on, people? Welcome to...
That is a disgrace. That is a disgrace. I'm going to have to hijack this from the get-go, from the get-go, because someone doesn't want to play a certain intro because he's scared about the agenda that's coming at him. I'm going to play it again. Disgrace.
You've done it twice.
But now I'm onto him, man. Like, I know he's getting used to it and stuff like that. But at the moment, I know it's early, but you just got to call it as you see it. At the moment, he's showing why Scott McTominay's playing ahead of him. Jury's out. Jury's out. Ah, mate. Somebody's warming up, mate. Casemiro, mate. No, watch out. Big Scott's warming up, mate. Terminator's warming up. 10 I've seen enough. I knew about this guy, bro. Suspect. That's all I'll say. Suspect. Everyone got hyped. I said it. Got reservations over that. He's been awful. Let's just say it as it is.
Casserole fitting.
Been awful.
Who's been awful, Fleck?
Casemiro's been awful. Everyone's going to do the thing on Fred, and rightly so. He's been awful as well. Casemiro's been right there with him in this game. All right, he had that shot on target, but other than that, he's been awful.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Well done, Cass. Well done. Next time, man. Next time. Well done.
You are an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat.
Casemiro today was absolutely excellent. He was everywhere. He was absolutely everywhere.
I can't do it.
You can. You can do it. You can. You can.
Better, much better.
I was about to press that one as well, but they're labelled as the same thing.
Yeah, sure. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. It's people need to know.
There's a few ways of looking at this, right? There's a few ways of breaking this down. Because this morning, Owen was saying, you know, I actually brought Casemiro out. Owen was like, yeah, say sorry. And obviously, in the meantime, Owen's done a masterpiece. That's what he does. This is the full view. Anyone gets it. Beware. Receipts are always there. No problem. But in that clip, I said, in this game, he wasn't doing well. He wasn't. And also, how about this? Everyone talks about Judge. Can somebody please tell me how Casemiro has played since I came into contact with him? I'll wait.
Well, first of all, okay.
I
agree.
Okay.
But
It's different now.
If you'd let me finish, you wouldn't let me finish.
Yeah, it's different now.
I would say that the reverse judge is real, and you should be proud of yourself because you're using your powers for positive stuff. But the phrasing that you were using in the match was, I had to cut that down, by the way, guys. That was nearly like 2 minutes long. It would have been like 3.5. There was a lot of anti-Casemiro footage. They had to cut out that one. Oh.
I was saying what I was saying. All I was doing was catchphase. Say what you see. In that moment.
You can just say sorry.
I'm not apologizing. I'm not apologizing for that.
Or you can say sorry.
I'm apologizing for the initial reservations. But in that game, I stand by what I said. He was terrible in that game. He was terrible in that. Was he terrible in that game?
You said suspect.
He was suspect in that game.
You said suspect. You said suspect.
Yes.
You were talking in general terms.
And now the jury's not out.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
So I mean, that's all I'm saying. But welcome to the full view. Everyone gets it. Nobody is safe. Beware. Beware. You will be held accountable to things you say and do online. That is what the full view is. Big up to Mina. Big up to Cam. Big up to Faz. Big up to Marcel. It's been a while, man. It's been a hot minute. Man. All the World Cup malarkey's over. We're back to business. The boys are back playing. There's a lot of transfer stuff going on. Do you know what? Let's start with Mina, man. How have you felt with everything, with the lack of signing in January, with the fact that we might not get anyone, the fact that there's no money, the fact that obviously we need to sit and hold tight, maybe with the sale of the club, so we might not get any players. What are you saying?
I'm not surprised. I don't know if I'm the only one that's not really surprised with this outcome. It's disappointing, to say the least. Like, you look at the whole Gakpo thing, and I was one of the people questioning, you know, how Gakpo would fit into United and just generally speaking. But the fact that United tax is so real that Liverpool can sign them for 37 million. It's actually quite funny. You look at the market now; it's just the inflated market. It's just the inflated market. It might be one of them situations where we might have to make do with what we got. Like that's the worrying thing with the run of games that we got coming up, and just one striker down and injuries and fatigue and all that stuff. It'll just be interesting in it to see how it pans out.
What are you saying, Marcel, about this situation that we're in?
Gakpo in general, or just the whole thing in terms of the financial side and everything?
Financial side.
I believe he used the phrase before we logged on. He said the word crisis.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Right now, I feel like, in terms of not being able to go into the market and purchase players, I would constitute that as a crisis. We have to go into the loan market now, which is very peculiar. And you kind of have to decide what you want in the loan market. So we're in a crisis. And it's funny enough, we done a morning view, Owen, and we was talking about the financial report that Man United had put out, talking about that we just don't have money. And the PR machine has definitely pulled the wool over many of our eyes, thinking that we could go into the market and get a 50, 60, 70 million pound forward or just a couple of players in January. So, it's now the loan market. And that is, to me, constitutes a little bit of a crisis. We need to get 1 or 2 players to come in to push for the top 4. And in the moment right now, it's a crisis. If you're talking about the broader context, the Glazers are leaving. That's joy. That's happiness. That's a good thing. And again, we had spoken about that, Owen, in a morning view. That at the end of the day, whether it's a bad breakup of the relationship, it's better that it's broken. And that's the positive side of things. So definitely in this moment right now, a crisis. And then in terms of the Gakpo thing, wow, the PR machine again doing its work, and it would have been good to get Gakpo in, a Ten Hag purchase, somebody that Ten Hag would have wanted. So I think he would have been able to be a good fit within our system. But like I said, we don't have the finances for it. So a loan deal wouldn't have been struck. That kind of deal wouldn't have been struck. It would have been a purchase, and we don't have the money for it. So we're in a bit of an issue.
Cam giving me sleepover vibes, but he's got the mattress up against the wall. Faz, are we in a crisis? Is Marcel right?
No, what crisis are we going to be in? It would be a crisis if we had the money to even go and spend. We don't even have the money to go and spend. We've got chicken nugget money left over. That's it. We've got a couple people that probably we need to pay. According to the financial report, there's still payables left where people are owed money or contractors are owed money. And we've got, I'm hearing 20 million left over. So João Felix is a 13 to 16 million, loan deal. With everything, it's not a crisis. Crisis is if we had the money and we're not able to go and sign anyone because everybody's sweeping everybody up. We can't go and buy a Gakpo. We could never, because we don't have the money. Man United wanted to do the Klarna settings, like KG says, but Liverpool came through, paid the money up front, paid the add-ons a little bit later, and that's it. They got their player. Same thing with all these others, all these other clubs. That's what the same thing they'll be doing. They'll be swooping up the players in the January window because they all have the cash. I think the only thing I'm looking forward to is if Man United can have some sort of sense and go and do a loan deal, because that's the most proper business move to do. Because why go and commit huge amounts of cash whilst you're in Europa in January before the Barcelona game, and then buy a player, and the next thing you know, you get slapped out of Europa, and then you're in a mess and you've just paid big money for a player. So loan a player. If you like him, if he works out, then go and possibly buy him in the summer if you have some sort of cash.
But you just said that having the money means we're in a crisis. We don't even have the money. Accountable for what you said. You said that because having the money would be in a crisis. That makes no sense.
Because I'm numb to all of this Glazers and Glazeronomic and money and all of this stuff. It's the same situation all the time. Where's the money coming from? Where did we get another 70 million for Casemiro? Where did we get another 50 odd million to add to the Anthony transfer to buy him for 100 million? It's always the same old going around. So it's always, if you think of it that way, Man United's been in a crisis for how many years? So eventually, as a consumer, as a fan, you get fed up of it. Every January, every summer, we're in a crisis because let's not forget, all of us here sat in the summer transfer window saying, when are we making signings? Why are Man United moving so slow? Frankie de Jong. And look what happened. No Frankie de Jong came.
Not all of us. There were people that were saying, wait the window play out. Let's see what happens. Wait till it closes. And we signed like 5 or 6 people.
Sure, some people were cooler than others. Sure, but nonetheless, Man United have always been in some sort of a critical situation. So
I agree with
no
you,
different
Faz.
now.
I agree. When Marcel said it before the stream started, and he said crisis, I went, that's a bit strong for you, Marcel. I think that put it this way: if you'd have said at the beginning of the season, you've got to go through 2 more Glazer windows, one of which you did sign the players, but you overspent and it was late on, and the second one, you're not going to get anyone in January, but the Glazer is going to be gone by the end of the season. Unanimously, everyone on this panel would say yes. We would, and
gone.
Yeah, and it's and you have to realize what it takes to get them out is it has to get bad. It's bad. Like the money's run out. So, is it a crisis in the sense that we can't sign anyone in January? It's annoying. And we can be annoyed at the situation. But in terms of a crisis, Man United will be around come the summer. We'll have new owners. We've got a good manager. We've got good players. I see a negative in that we don't have money in January, but I see far more positives outweighing that. So therefore,
that's what I'm saying,
crisis.
That's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying it's I've branded it. No, but I'm branding it now a transfer crisis. Then because I've said that. If you look back at what I said, I've followed exactly word for word what you're saying. Completely, Owen. But what I'm trying to say is you can't say that it's a crisis if we have the money. That makes utterly no sense. That allows us to purchase players and add them to our football club.
And what do we do, Marcel, when we have the money? We splash it without any sort of inkling as to how we're spending the money. That's what we do. Even when we have the money, we're in crisis because somehow we had the money. Yeah, but you're not going to agree. But the fact is, when we had the money, we delayed Lisandro Martinez, so we overpaid. We delayed Anthony, so we overpaid. So that's even when we had the money, and we were in a crisis. Yeah. People were buying Fantadium t-shirts. We were in a crisis. So,
but if you look at it in the other way, Malassia's come in. The likes of Garnacho's come in from the youth academy. There's different avenues where we've executed well within the market. Gakpo was part of the deal and was meant to get him for a good price. There's Man United tax, like obviously Mina's mentioned before, but that's just how it is at the end of the day. What's
Splashnet says, is Dubravka a goalkeeping crisis from the community? They just want you to answer the question.
It depends how someone looks at it. If you're looking short term, then currently
with eyes.
Well, looking at it with a brain, or just what do you mean?
Are we to answer Splashner's question, or are we gonna just?
All right, sorry, yeah, go on.
Right. So if you're looking at the short term, obviously, yes, one could say it's been poor short term. Long term, though, getting 2 goalkeepers that follow more Ten Hag style, I think is important. So yes, I would agree. Short term, definitely a crisis. He hasn't been playing well. De Gea has not played well before, and for periods of time, for season, for long stretches of time.
He's got that bad leg, Marcel, as well. Dubravka, he's got that bad right leg.
Of course. You can go and you can nibble and dabble at the crooks and crannies of it, but at the end of the day, David De Gea is at the end of the goal and the end of the road. He's not good enough, and that's just a simple fact.
Why does the community always manage to get Marcel back there? Even when it's like nowhere near it. I mean, Cam,
it was the best the other day with his leg. His leg one was the best. That's top tier. That's top tier, Marcel.
Me and Marcel, I don't want to ruin it because it's going to be in Raw, isn't it, Marcel? Yeah. So in one of where I just got done in that Raw. Members only. You guys, remember you can join the members to see the membership to see those videos. We had a massive. Was it a blowout? Would you call that a blowout, Marcel, with this Dubravka De Gea thing in the car on the way out?
There's no such thing as that. We're all good friends. So we had a discussion.
Yeah, we are, but it was loud. It was
flex on Marcel. Walk it, bro. Walk it back home.
And then he pulled over.
I'm not gonna let you lot spin this one. It was an informative discussion about my agenda because it's been dragged left and right. Let's be honest, it's been dragged left and right. We've not got to the nucleus of what I was saying, and I'll pin it. 40,000, 30,000 people had seen my original agenda at the original full view in the studio. 30 and 40,000 people had seen it, and they had agreed with my original point. So when you guys are ready to wake up and put the new glasses on, the Ten Hag glasses on, you guys will see.
What, the Ten Hag glasses where he keeps him as number one, and he's going to give him a new deal because he likes him.
He keeps him as the goalkeeper short term. He reduces maybe the wages short term,
and keeps him as number one next year.
But if it's one more season, I've been on full views before saying, okay, we'll give him another season. But in terms of being at the top level, competing with the best team, Liverpool. Hold on a second, Mina. Competing with the best teams at the top level, You have to change your goalkeeper and get in a better goalkeeper. It's very simple.
Say, all right, hypothetically speaking, yeah, we can buy one person in January, one position that we can fill for long term. Are we filling a striker position or are we filling our goalkeeper position?
For long term, it's
Yeah.
a good question. It's a good question, and simply based on priorities, I would say a striker. Right now, based on because you've got to constitute in obviously the season after. We already know maybe David De Gea stays next season, which I can understand. But right now, it's immediate concern for the next 2 or 3 seasons ahead. You want a good 20-goal season striker, number 9. So I can say if it's just one player, Mina, for sure, striker. But you guys already understand that I feel how much of a priority a goalkeeper is within the Ten Hag system.
Cam, what are you saying about the money situation, the player situation? About, like, you know, Faz was basically saying, heard it all before. You know what I mean? He's kind of tired of it, basically. Marcel kind of saying, you know, it's a bit of a problem now, but long term it's good, and etc. etc. What are you saying?
Yeah, but as Ten Hag keeps saying, you've got to get the right players. What's happened here, to address this for anyone that keeps commenting on it, my parents have gone, you know what, we need a big name signing. We want a good piece of furniture. They've gone and bought a big piece of furniture. Does it fit the room? Not a chance. Is it the right thing for the room? Is it the position we want to sort out for the next 10 years? No. It's sofa bed. Yes.
Cam's got Glazer furniture.
It's like when we bought the midfield, it didn't fit, it was useless. It looks up on stream as well. Like,
Cam, stop being ungrateful to your parents, man. They're putting things in there, you could use it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, big up to them, obviously, but like, at least make the right decisions. You can't go and buy crap. Like, buy the right things. Buy something that fits the room. Like, if you're in a bedroom, buy a bed. If it's not a bedroom, buy a sofa. Don't buy something.
So wait, sorry, this is mad off topic. So Cam, what's actually happened? Your parents have bought new stuff, but it don't fit in there.
Well, they bought a sofa bed, but it's not a bedroom. And like no one ever uses it as a sofa bed. A sofa would have been fine.
This is mad.
Cam got the Igalo furniture, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, Igalo actually had some use. Igalo actually scored a few goals. He gave us a few good interviews as well, but this...
Oh, mate. Cam, listen, don't change, mate. Do not change. Oh, bloody hell. What was we talking about? Oh, yeah, the transfer situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. We got no money. The Glazers are going. Happy days. Yeah, that's it, really. I mean, like, why... We can get upset about having no money, not making any signings, all that sort of stuff. But the Glazers are going. Celebrate that instead.
Can we still achieve top 4 or push for top 4, challenge for it if we don't reinforce in January?
I think so. I think the progression we've seen this season, we're playing a lot better now than we were at the start of the season. And also, if you look at the games we had before the World Cup, we've played probably the harder sort of teams in the rest of the league. We've got a lot more of the teams lower down the league to come now before we even get back into playing teams twice. So I think we're in a good position. We can keep getting better and better, and Marcel's fully fit. Outside of that, really, I think we're in a pretty good place. Every single player in that squad. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's not just an inverted fullback, he's an inverted footballer. He's become able to play football again. I don't know how...
Have you seen that in the 2 games? Have you actually seen an improvement in him in them 2 games?
Yeah, he couldn't control a ball before. He like 99% of his game before was control, like running after his own first touch. He's actually been controlling a ball. He's been inverted, doing things that you expect from a footballer. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know, but Ten Hag, fair play to him. Pretty much every player in this squad now is playing better than they were before. Can't even think of a single player that's got worse. Not one. If you guys
say Harry Maguire's the same. Like he hasn't got worse.
He's not playing.
He's just he's just not playing. Actually, he's just not playing. Who's got worse? Well, Sancho, we would argue, because he's not even.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But other than that, I hear what you're saying. That. Oh, I just didn't expect to hear you say that.
It's creeping up on you, doesn't it? Yeah.
I just didn't expect Cam to say that. We've got some super chats, and then obviously the floor's yours, and you guys can get involved in what you want to. Billy Jones says, big up to Casemiro. I was completely wrong about him being a bad signing due to his age and intentions. It's crazy how good his injury record is considering his role as a defensive midfielder. And Ginger Fury says, Casado to United, ? And Sully says, we kicked Glazers out, yet we're surprised that that they won't spend. Would you buy a car for the girl that broke up with you? Also, Eric Ten Hag is a long-term thing. Alan says, the fist pump is unforgivable. Red card. Yeah, but it was the healing of him. It was the turnaround, you know? If it wasn't for that potato mash thing, if it wasn't for that spam, who knows what Casemiro would have turned out like.
It hung there for like a second, didn't it? It wasn't even immediate. It was like that. They both sort of acknowledged that was wrong, but no one said anything.
I think you need to do that to Sancho then next time you come across Sancho.
So Sancho
might do miracles.
Go for the fist pump. I'm going to give you a high five. We just smash it there. Hopefully that the reverse judge can work for Sancho as well. WJ Barrett says, we got enough in the tank. Don't panic. Felix incoming. Josh Waring says, crisis mode. Nah, that would be Juve. Oh, Faz is gone. That would be Juve now or Barca last summer. Clubs aren't lining up to take our players at fire sales. More Glazeronomics. And JK says, whatever happens, no more pronunciations, Owen. # jinx. Well, we're going to talk about that. Maybe.
I tried to learn how to say a player's name properly.
No, it was more than that.
We don't do enough of in this country. I worked on Erik ten Hag.
You did De Jong. Every minute it was like, it's Frankie. It's Frankie.
Well, that was you.
Where is he now? Where is he now?
We'd do transfer views and you'd go, you said Frankie. And I started developing a real complex about it. God, I can't even say his name properly. So I started learning everyone else's name. Benjamin Šeško. I learned that as well.
He's another one. Signed a new deal. I forgot about him as well. Yeah. Every name that you try and learn, apart from Erik ten Hag, who we already knew.
Erik ten Hag.
You jinx it. So maybe they're right.
I've learned players that currently play for us. Diog Dalot. Better. Paolo's
but they're already here.
Paolo's been giving you those lessons.
Bruno Fernandes. Been looking at that one as well.
Sound like a FIFA guy.
They get better.
Mano says, do you think we can get
Boy
top
Kev
4?
as well?
Boy Kev. Manuj says, do you think we can get top 4 or even top 3 with a loan signing? And I don't think we will get even that. WJ Barrett says, Marcel said Dubravka had a dead leg, just laughing. Chris says, long-term extension incoming for David De Gea, hopefully. And after Austin Baker says, after Cam's furniture, can we get a UV Cribs episode? Oh my god, imagine that, like a little MTV Cribs thing, but UV style. That was what I was going to say. Do you know what? Can we actually talk about, and this isn't actually directed at Marcel, I promise you, because we are going to talk about the takeover debate as well. But just there, when someone said it in the super chat about a new long-term deal for De Gea, I actually do want to talk about that. All banter aside, I'll start with Mina, and then we'll go to Faz, and then around the room. There's talks that he's going to get a new deal, obviously reduced terms. What's your feeling on that, Mina? Is that the right decision, or should we let him go for free in the summer and look for somebody in a different mold to him?
No, I think it's a good option. Just I think it depends on how long the contract is. He's what? How old is he? He's 32, if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Or 33.
I don't actually know how old he is.
Or is he 31? He's around 30 something. He's 30.
Too old. He's too old.
Yeah, he's around 30 something. I think
too old. Anyway, carry on, Mina. We'll get to Marcel. You can have your say in a sec, Marcel.
So I think a new deal for like 2 to 3 years, reduced terms, I think it would be the right decision, given the fact that he's probably going to be our goalkeeper probably next season as well. So it would give United at least 3 years to address the issue of, it's not really, I would say it's an issue, but to address the goalkeeper position. Bear in mind, how old was Van der Sar until he was playing with us?
Exactly.
And people have to keep in mind as well, David De Gea came when he was young. Like, he literally has spent near enough to 10 years with us. He came at a very young age. And, when I watch his I listened to a recent episode that he did with Manchester United podcast. And the way he talks about the club, I definitely see him wanting to finish out the rest of his, career where he's playing at a high level at Manchester United. I definitely see that. And I do think that out of all the positions that need to be filled by Manchester United, I don't think goalkeeper will probably be filled in the next 2 transfer windows, including this January, next summer, and probably the January after that. I just don't see it happening. Does he deserve a contract? Yeah, this guy has played for 10 years at United, albeit at the beginning he was a bit, he was young, so
shaky,
he was quite prone to mistakes.
Yeah,
but there was seasons where he literally kept us from conceding a lot of goals. And I do think that a contract is a reward. Extension contract is a reward. We should be asking why Fred is getting a getting his 12-month contract triggered.
He runs,
That's what.
Mina, because he runs.
No. You're gonna say because he runs, and yes, I'm fond of him, but I don't think that he should be getting an extension. And there's quite a few players that I could be fond of, and I don't think that they should get an extension. Out of all the players whose contracts are expiring this summer, I think it's blasphemous that Fred is actually getting an extension. David De Gea, I think, and Rashford and Dalot deserved. Probably they're going to get increased terms. The fact that David De Gea is willing to take a pay cut so that he can stay at the club because he knows that the club is going to get to a point where they've moved past him. It's kind of like, yeah, he's accepting it, and he's like, yeah, let me just stay. I know Marcel won't agree. I know he won't agree with that, but it is what it is.
Faz, you got any grievances with De Gea getting a short-term deal but reduced terms and potentially still being number one next season?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This man, I have been very critical of him at the start of the season when he cost us 2 games as well. And I was like, you know what, they're saying it. But then guess what he did? He bounced back. He showed us there's certain parts of his game he can play. He started passing. He started finding players higher up in the pitch accurately. All signs of things that people who have David Gea agenda wanted to see. And they saw. Funny enough, actually, this morning I was scrolling through Cam's TikTok, came across a TikTok where Cam actually apologized for the way he was bashing David De Gea. But this was a long time ago, Cam. No, this was a long time ago. It wasn't.
You should have brought this to the. You should have brought this to the congregation.
It's okay. It was a long time ago. It wasn't.
Owen is HR. Owen is HR, Faz. You should have sent that into Owen and let Owen do his magic.
Okay. But one thing that we must agree on, and I don't think anybody in the right mind can deny that with the right players in front of David De Gea, things have been a lot more better for him. And this is the number one thing that we need to address is actually David De Gea can do so much himself. And surely from an attacking perspective, you guys want to see more. And he has given that. But with the right players in front of him, the likes of Varane, Martinez, Casemiro playing in a centre-back / CDM position, you see that David De Gea actually is having a relaxed time. He's not actually having to do much. If you go and look at our recent games as well, we're not conceding a hell of a lot of goals, unless for the City game. We haven't conceded a lot of goals as well. So, overall, considering the financial situation we're in, considering the ownership situation we're in, it is perfectly fine and it's perfectly justifiable to actually keep David De Gea for at least 2 seasons until we can identify a new shirt sponsor, maybe new ownership, maybe get rid of some players. And coming on to getting rid of some players, I actually want every single player's contract to be extended. I'm actually disagreeing with Mina on the Fred thing. One thing that Cam's just said before, can you name me
wait, what, the whole squad? What? Oh, everyone is up for renewal. You want them all
Everybody
extended?
Who's up for renewal, trigger their 1-year extension.
So
smart business thing.
So trigger the what? So not negotiate new terms.
Not a new contract. No, not a new contract. Yeah,
right.
Every player has a 1-year, if I'm not mistaken, every player has a 1-year, 12-month extension where the club, just triggers it, like Rashford's triggered, etc., etc. All the players are triggered.
Including De Gea. Including De Gea on the existing terms that he's on right now. Which is
David De Gea is separate. Sorry, just to clarify, David De Gea is separate. Negotiate David De Gea's new terms, considering his lower wages, and keep him for another 2-3 seasons. I'm talking the other players, outfield players who are up for contract renewal, extend their contract by 12 months. The lot of them. All of them. The reason being is because, just as Cam mentioned, every single player has either played somewhat of a decent level or somewhat improved. So the smart business move would be is extend their contracts, get something out of them, and then sell them for some change in summer. Because as it stands, Ten Hag is improving some of these players. Wan-Bissaka can actually control the ball, which does add another 5 million to his transfer value. We were just laughing before. Fred, he did score a goal. Fred is chopping the ball and passing it, backheeling it and all, and running and keeping it tidy, getting a couple goals this season. These are all adding value to these players. Even if it's minuscule, this is important. And this is, you have to, think of business perspective. We need to sell some of these players. We're the worst club when it comes to selling. So that's why I want to extend just for a year, extend, do that trigger, and then sell them in the summer or January next year.
I wasn't going to bring that up, that comment, right? But we got a lot of them. We played on the match view. We played a clip of you and Marcel talking in the car, and a lot of the comments were very much Flex is taking his son to the first ever football match he's ever been to. Marcel's got a booster seat. One said Marcel's legs were dangling. Violation.
Like Ragnar says, y'all leave Marcel alone. And Digital,
no comment.
Digital does says, fair play, Faz, spot on. Because Mina, actually, you were saying, because you was just saying you was a bit annoyed at the extension of that, and Faz is saying, for business purposes, it actually makes sense. Did you mean as in, well, because they have triggered it? Did you know that they triggered just to keep it the same?
Yeah, no. I know it's to keep the same, but I guess it's probably because they don't anticipate that they'll go into the market for a midfielder in the summer. So he's just an extra body in midfield. But really and truly, if we were to sell Fred, or like sometime next year, or before his 12-month extension finishes, we bought him for 50 million. Do you really think we will ever make a profit on that?
Oh no, we're never going to make a profit. No, we're never going to make a profit.
So we're just going to get a little bit of
something,
like 20 million.
Basically,
like 20
okay. So if maybe 50, something like 15, 20. But if let's say we didn't offer him that thing that we did where we triggered the extension, and we get to the summer and he went, or even now, let's say when he did it under Herrera, he just got a pre-contract with PSG and left for free, or we can, I think what Faz said, we can trigger it. Then if Ten Hag says, listen, you're not really going to play this season, well, he's still got a year left on his deal. Then if PSG come knocking, we go, right, give us 12 million or something like that. I think because we don't sell well.
For free, yeah.
Yeah, so I can see that point, to be fair, what Faz said. What do you think, Cam? Sorry, just about, and then we'll get to you, Marcel.
It's on Faz's point.
Oh, it's on that. Oh, go on. Yeah, go on.
So the only thing that I would say is we don't know what the consortium and I know we're going to go to the takeover side of things later, but we don't know what the consortium is going to bring, Faz. I wouldn't say extend everyone's contracts. Once if the consortium brings a huge amount of investment and we go down Mina's route or a little bit different to Mina's route in the sense that we don't need to extend said player's contract because there's 300, 400, 500 million to spend and cut your losses. Man United haven't been good at doing that either. Cutting your losses on a certain player, just getting rid and being able to give the holistic backing that Ten Hag needs to be able to get a new player in instead of extending said player's contract to look at a financial side of things. Well, if we extend his contract and he goes up on 250k, who else can pay that in the league? And I'm just talking about any player, Fred or whoever it is. So I think we have to look. I think we don't want to jump the gun yet. Let's look at the situation in terms of what kind of ambition do the new consortium or said owners have, and then we'll be able to see. And I think Ten Hag's done that masterfully in terms of his man management style. He's really been able to say to all players, look, you've got to earn your right, regardless. And I myself, agents, and the club would deal with transfer wages and new players coming in. And Ten Hag's got to look at that situation once the new consortium comes in. So yeah.
What do you think, Cam? Actually, on Mina and Faz's point of first, because we were talking about De Gea, which led into this bit. But firstly, what do you think about triggering the extensions of players to try and keep some form of value versus, like what Marcel says, cut your losses? And secondly, what do you think of De Gea actually getting a new contract, but just on reduced terms?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of selling players, I think it's pretty clear. I think everyone, pretty much all the tier 1 journalists agree that we'll have new owners by the time we get to next summer. And you can be pretty sure that if you get new owners, especially with the terms and all the sort of stuff they're going to have to agree to now, if you think back to the Chelsea deal, there was the anti-Glazer clauses, all that sort of stuff where they've got to have a certain amount of investment into the club. You can be pretty sure that any new group of owners is going to want to get fans on side pretty quickly. Even if it was a Glazer type owner again, they'd be pretty keen to get the fans on side for the first year at least. They're going to spend a lot of money in the summer, a lot of money. And whether that's Mbappe signing, I think that's sort of the dream signing, but it's one that I think now that obviously Madrid have got other targets.
Where did the M word come from?
I don't know. I'm so confused.
I was like, did I just drift away for a second there? I heard him say Mbappe.
Yeah. No, Kylian Mbappe comes to Man United. Fred goes to PSG. Swap deal for we get Mbappe.
Swap deal plus 250 million.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. Maybe we give them De Gea as well if they want another keeper because they seem to be signing plenty of. Well, they've got Navas and Donnarumma. We'll give them De Gea as well. Give them a whole set. Why not? But yeah, no, I think we're going to get a pretty big couple of players in the summer. Obviously, a striker's amongst that. I'd be surprised if Mbappe wasn't at least looked at because there aren't too many other big options at striker at the minute. So that's going to be one. But the rest of the team, like they're going to want to make changes. If Ten Hag wants a midfielder, he will get that midfielder in the summer. I'm 100% sure of that. So if he's not 100% set on Fred, just let him go. Like as Marcel said, we've not been great at letting people go when it's time to cut our losses on them. It's something we've really struggled with. And if Fred wants to go PSG, let him go. Yeah, I think if we're not 100% sure we're going to have new owners, then yeah, maybe we keep him around just for a year. But if we are, let him go. You can find players like that anywhere. All he does is run, really. He's not particularly good at anything else. You can find that sort of player anywhere, and there are probably 3 or 4 of that in the youth team. Maybe not as strong as Fred, but and not as experienced, but you may as well give him a go. On De Gea, Marcel, we've had this so many times. You know, people still don't see. I don't get it. I don't know. But we've got one of the deepest defensive lines in the league. That isn't how Ten Hag wants to play. Statistically, we're one of the deepest teams in the league. And you're telling me now, people last year were saying, oh, it's because of Maguire, it's because of Shaw, all these things. He's playing with Varane and Martinez now. Are you telling me neither of them can play in a high line? There is one.
Are we better this year than we were last year?
Yeah, we're a little bit better, yes, a little bit better. And it's getting better as we're playing Varane and Martinez more and less of Maguire and Lindelof. But still, the main driving factor, the main reason we've still got to keep doing it is because De Gea is not very good coming off his line. He's got better, and you've got to give him full credit for that. He's got a lot better with coming off his line, better with his distribution. But still, when we're facing crosses, when we're facing attacks from out wide, everybody's got to be so deep because they don't trust De Gea to come and claim stuff. And it's a massive problem throughout the team. I think when we get someone, go on, goalkeepers union.
My only thing was like we saw, like say Diogo Costa, right? Example at the World Cup. I did not see a goalkeeper there that was good at collecting crosses or anything like that. I saw a guy that struggled in collecting crosses. And my issue is, and I've always said this, I don't necessarily disagree. In that, in terms of the keeper profile, I don't think David De Gea is in Erik ten Hag's mind is the perfect goalkeeper for how he wants. But at the same time, I just think we have to be so careful of sort of better the devil we know, because people throw out all of these names, and every time we see these names that get thrown out, I know they're individual games, but I've yet to see a goalkeeper that we've been linked with actually have a quality game. It feels like every time we watch them, they make a mistake or they play rubbish. Marcel, you had it the other day. During the World Cup, you said, I'd rather have Dubravka and Sommer. They had 2 of the worst games I've ever seen in 24 hours.
Yep. I've got the Midas touch reversed. I've got the Midas touch reversed in that particular moment in life within a World Cup setting. But if we just go a little bit before that, when I originally introduced the agenda to everyone's attention, he had fantastic games in the Champions League. Myself and Mina were talking about it consistently. So, you know, we have to put that into context though. So yes, I usually do have the Midas touch, but it didn't work within the World Cup setting. No problem. But at the end of the day, he is fantastic. That goalkeeper is fantastic. And when you're talking about Owen, having a player that suits the Ten Hag system or style, please just take some time to watch some of Diogo Costa's games, and you'll clearly see he's part of that ilk.
I've seen the highlights like you have, and he's had some impressive performances in the Champions League. You can almost see it, can't you? You can see like a more, let's say, progressive goalkeeper coming in that is higher up off the line, that is better with his feet, but then not making the saves that De Gea makes. And there will be the complaints or the outrage of he should have saved that, or he's not as good at making saves as David De Gea. And I just think we have to be careful of, are we going to rue that? Are we going to force out a player? You know, and I say force out, it's probably too much of a strong word. Are we going to let go of a player that we do know his capabilities and has won us games this season and won us points for a goalkeeper that might not be up to it? Again, the pressure position that is being a Manchester United goalkeeper in front of 75,000 plus people and billions of people around the world, that is a heavy pressure. And just because people are good with their feet and good at distribution doesn't mean they can handle the weight of that shirt. You know, we've seen people try whilst De Gea's been there and it hasn't worked out.
Agree with you in the moment. So then if we're coming to me, I think everyone's spoken to Gea now. So agree with you in the moment. 100% right now, I think Ten Hag, and there's so many factors to this, the financial side of things. So, we're bringing down his wages, which makes it more acceptable for me to have him in there, because he's not, you're paying the man as the best in the league. That just makes no sense to me, Owen. So in this moment now, his abilities at 33 years of age, of course, he's going to be a better shot stopper than Diogo Costa. He's faced thousands more shots than him in his lifetime. But if we're going to give him the same sort of opportunity that De Gea had, he was poor. We just said it. Mina and Flex just said it. He wasn't that good at the beginning of his tenure at Man United, David De Gea. And we can assume that Diogo Costa would have a similar kind of story arc then. He's been poor in a World Cup in a high pressure situation, and this will build the man into a better footballer. Same thing that's happened to Marcus Rashford. Same thing that's happened to Saka. This happens to footballers. They make big mistakes in big moments, and then they're able to turn it around and be better footballers for it. He didn't fail completely and abruptly. It was a poor World Cup. He can get better, but he's already shown the signs of a top-level goalkeeper. He's already shown the signs that's competence within a Ten Hag system. David De Gea doesn't have that. It's very evident. And the quickly people put on the glasses and they see what I'm talking about, it will be better. It's better for the team, because like Cam's is saying, we're higher up the pitch now. We're playing more expansive football now. And I would rather him have that pressure and the comfort under the 75,000 at Old Trafford and do it early instead of waiting until another club sees it and wakes up.
I mean, like I said, I don't think, as I said before, I don't think it's necessarily totally disagreeing with you. I think where you lose people with the De Gea thing is when you start saying, I'd play Dubravka or I'd have Jan Sommer in. That's where you lose people, I think. That's the stretch where it's too far.
Well, let me gain them. Let me gain them back then. Dubravka and Sommer.
What do you mean let me gain them back?
Let me explain it to you.
Just made me laugh. Just the way you dropped it. Just let me game them back then. Go on.
Dubravka and Sommer are two players that Ten Hag has bought. He clearly sees attributes and abilities within their game. Pardon? Well, no, it was someone that was touted for. The only reason why I mentioned Sommer, it wasn't even someone that I wanted. If we're being honest, Owen, it wasn't even someone that I wanted. But anyone that Ten Hag wants, I'm assuming that he's looked at the player and has abilities and attributes within their game that Ten Hag wants to add. David De Gea is not that. He was someone that he was burdened with.
What if he wants De Gea? What if he makes that decision that he wants David De Gea?
I don't. But then I have to be humble. I have to take humble pie in that situation.
Hold on a second.
Right now, in the context of everything, it's a situation where he's balancing the books. We have to look at the financial situation of things, and David De Gea has been overpaid, overpriced. You want to balance that out. So for me, I would have got. And I was only saying in that moment, again, I will pin the tweet again where 40,000, 30,000 people are doing it when I'm the full view. That at the end of the day, to get to the creme de la creme of football, you need the best in class. And I thought at the time, the community spoke otherwise. I thought at the time that was number one of the list. Okay, fair enough, it's not. I put him down to number 2 or 3 on the list, or number 3 on the list. That's fine. That's not an issue at all with me. What I'm trying to say now is, though, I would have said Dubravka and Sommer, 2 players that understand, or for Ten Hag's mind, I've got the abilities and attributes to play the system, instead of having David De Gea, who's come from the Mourinho school, come from all the other schools where he doesn't have to work on these things, and it's 33 now. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's going to be very hard.
Is he 33?
I don't care. Plus 30. 31. I don't care. Plus 30.
And by the way, Dubravka does not have the attributes for a Ten Hag system.
Can I just say that?
That was getting a goalkeeper for the sense of getting a goalkeeper.
Just getting a body. That was Lee Grant's gone. We just need someone to flip and train up the keepers. He might play Carling Cup. Tom Heaton's better than Dubravka.
Tom Heaton's better. He is.
Tom Heaton's better than Dubravka.
And I said
shit.
I'd seen Tom Heaton in the warm-ups, if you look, remember, at the beginning of the season, and I wanted him to have the go. So the premise of my argument is, I just want someone new in. So I don't want to go.
Exactly.
You just want it to be new.
That's the issue. That's my point, Marcel. That is my total point of we have to be careful about just getting someone for the sake of getting someone new. Better the devil you know. It's got to be the right person. I don't disagree that David De Gea needs to be replaced, but it's got to be, Ten Hag said, the right person.
The right person. And we're missing, I think, obviously, we all say in the manager we trust in that. Let's not act like Ten Hag doesn't love De Gea, guys.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, the guy loves him. He rates him. I'm not saying, like, within the next 5 years, we can't go in a different direction, or the next 2, whatever it is, next 3, yeah? But there's a few reasons why David De Gea is still number 1, yeah? you can argue that it's just because we have to fix other things as well and stuff like that. But also, I think he's seen him and gone, you know what? I can work with that for a couple of years. He's not like, he's still one of the top. To me, David De Gea is still one of the top keepers in the world. You're acting like he's just some any man. Like,
I just want to bring something in there. I just want to bring something in there. I had a conversation with Marcel. And in the conversation, I asked him prior to
Get it right, though. You claim things that are not always true, Faz. Make sure you quote me correctly.
Okay, well, you're here. You're here. It's not like I'm saying it when you're not here. So you can come back. But there's video footage of this. So I asked you, how many games of Ten Hag football did you see prior to Ten Hag coming into Manchester United? This thing about his style of goalkeeping and whatever. And I even asked you, did you follow his goalkeepers in Ajax? Remember what you said?
No, I don't. I'm waiting for you to quote it to me.
You said that you only watched 4
you have to
games.
show me. Bring it to HR. Bring it to HR, in fact. Bring it to HR, Owen. And we'll work from there. Because right now I feel like you're spewing something. You're spewing something that's different to the facts that's in front of us. Look at all of Ten Hag's goalkeeper. The proof's in the pudding.
Marcel, talking. I'm glad you brought up Onana, because you did say recently when he announced his international retirement, you said Andre Onana, United should go for him. And I said to you, do you remember what happened between him and Ten Hag? They literally fell out. Ten Hag benched him and said to him, leave the club. And you said, let bygones be bygones. Ten Hag, at this point, I feel like you just want a keeper in just to get rid of De Gea, because I'm not sure how you can go and say, yeah, let's get Onana, who's a great goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, sweeper keeper. He fell out with his own manager at the World Cup about staying on his line and whatnot. But the fact that him and Ten Hag fell out and you were like, oh, let bygones be bygones. You hate De Gea, just tell the truth.
Yeah, and also, you said, let me win them back. And then you went, I just want someone new. That's your way of winning them back. Let me win them back. I just want someone new.
Hold on, Mina. In this life, Mina, people are gonna have disagreements.
In this life,
they're gonna have situations. Mina, they're gonna have situations where they don't see eye to eye.
No, I hear it and I agree. But the fact that they fell out,
they still have a business to run. They still have performances to perform. And if he has the attributes to play in this team, which he clearly evidently does, they can let bygones be bygones.
He literally told him, leave Ajax. I think it was in like March of the season. He benched him. He said, you're never playing ever again. Do you think now he's going to say, okay, bring him to Old Trafford. I want him to be my goalkeeper.
Is it okay? I'll blink.
Onana ain't better than David De Gea.
Absolutely not.
Onana's not better than. What's this talk? Like these guys are better than David De Gea.
No, I've not said anyone's better than anyone. You're misquoting me.
You said all these. You said all these.
No. He didn't say that. He didn't say.
Okay, thank you. Hold on, listen to me, guys.
He didn't say Onana was better, but he said that United should buy Onana.
Yeah, but if you're saying, but what Marcel's saying,
so now are we buying someone that's not better than our keeper for the sake of
what I'm saying. Marcel, you might not say it in as many words, but what Marcel's saying is just get rid of him for the sake of get rid of him. I don't even care if the guys coming in are better than him. That's what you're saying. That's even worse. You don't even genuinely believe that the guys that are coming in are better than De Gea. You just want De Gea.
So that's a good point though, Flex. And I'll answer it like this.
Thank you, Marcel.
No, hold on. So I'll answer it like this then, Flex. I'll answer it like this, then, Flex. Do you think De Gea suits Ten Hag's system better than Onana?
Yeah.
Wow. Case closed.
Yeah, because you know why? Because he saves shots, and since he's come, we've become a better team. And you know what? A lot of the flaws where De Gea can't be in goal because he can't kick, De Gea can't do this, De Gea can't do that. We're saying we're happy with the team and the team's going in the right direction. It's not as bad as everyone's making out. And also, I'll ask you this, Marcel. If you could pick, an attribute, out of 100, like on the little FIFA cards, you get strength, you get stamina, you get physicality, whatever. Let's do the keeper one, So you got shot stopping, you got kicking, you got command in the area, you got, I don't know, voice being loud, whatever you want to call it, If I was to say to you, you could choose one attribute to put at 100, would you choose shot stopping, distribution, command in the area, or kick it, whatever you want? What would you choose as the top attribute? Which one?
These questions, Mina does it very well. She constructs them very well, and so do you. But it's like
it's an easy question, bro.
No.
Oh, tell me. Okay, I'll tell you what. Tell me distribution, and then it's over. Then.
Pardon?
Tell me that your answer is distribution. You put it as the top characteristics, and then it's over. Then I lose.
But It doesn't. There's so many facets to the game. I'll put the post up again. I'll pin it. I'll pin it again when we was in the studio, and I clearly explained there's so many facets to the game when it comes to goalkeeping.
Agreed,
And
but what's the most important? I'm asking you what the most important is.
You asked Pep that question.
No. You didn't ask me what's the most. No, hold on. You didn't ask me what's the most important, Fleck. You asked me which one would I choose to have 100 and the rest be 50. That's different to saying which one.
So that would make it the most important because it's the highest value, no?
No, because I would want the other stats. No, because I would want.
Okay, what's your answer? What's your answer anyway? All right, what's your answer?
Distribution.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm glad you answered, because if it's distribution, Mr. 38-year-old goalkeeper who played under Ten Hag in his last season in Ajax, how was his distribution then?
So the predicament in that league is as follows. The Eredivisie, they're Ajax. They're going to give them, hold on, they're going to give that team so much more respect. So the predicament's a little bit different at Ajax's football club. So they're not getting pressed and harried as much as it is going to be within the structure of the Premier League right now.
You're the same person that said you're the same person that told me you watched Remco in Champions League, correct? He had 6 appearances. The goalkeeper for Ajax, who?
Oh, no, you're talking about
who played 6 games for Ajax in 21-20. Well, you forgot his name now. The same man who played 20-odd games for Ten Hag, 30-odd games for Ten Hag in 21-22 season.
I watched Diogo
6
Costa.
games in Champions League.
I said I watched Diogo Costa in the Champions League. Not.
So
again,
no. But did you not
please,
watch? Okay. But did you not watch Ten Hag ball before Ten Hag came into? Because clearly you know Ten Hag keeper, right?
No. I'm only.
So the keeper that played under Ten Hag, how did he play?
Very well.
But you don't even know his name. When I said his name, you said
Stecklenburg, you're talking about. I know the keeper's name. Stecklenburg is what you're talking about, I'm assuming.
So how did he play? What was his distribution like?
I said it was well. It was good. They won things. They were successful. They won majority of their games.
No, it wasn't.
What it wasn't.
He's a 38-year-old goalkeeper who doesn't distribute the ball near as good enough as what you think. No, Marcel. How many games of his did you watch?
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
Did you watch, Marcel? Go on.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, unfortunately. And then you're moving the goalpost, pun intended. So I can't bring it to HR, and we'll proceed from there.
The thing is,
you told me a name of a keeper. You told me a name of a keeper that wasn't even playing the most matches for Ajax in 21-22 season. It wasn't.
Bring it to HR, and we'll proceed from there.
I don't even disagree with the fact that, like Owen says, I don't disagree that in time, Ten Hag can say, I want a different type of goalkeeper. It's not even like I'm Team De Gea of like, oh, nobody can be as good as he. Like, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, trying to change. Like, I just think acting like he's just this big problem. I just don't see it right now. I don't. Cam, I know you haven't been trying to get in there for a little bit. Like what? Because I know you are Team De Gea needs to go now. He's not good enough as well. What? How are you seeing this now?
You know that question you asked
another year. Yeah.
That's actually a really good question. If you had to pick one attribute to be 100% and the rest had to be 50, it's a good question because if you think about how the team wants to play that you've got, whatever imaginary team it is in your head, how they want to play, that will tell you what attribute you need to be very good at. If you ask Pep Guardiola that, you'll get a different response to whatever Frank Lampard would say, for example, or a manager at a different club. I guarantee you, if you ask Pep Guardiola, the number one thing they have to be brilliant at wouldn't even be distribution, it would be sweeping. If the distribution's a 50, if they can sort of pass it to centre-backs most of the time, that's fine. Because if City have 75% possession, they're camped in the opposition half, the biggest danger to them is long balls turning into something useful. If a keeper can stamp out that for an entire season, they're going to win the league still. Even if they're not quite as good with their feet, they're going to win the league. That is more important to them than shot stopping. You can see it. Ederson at times, genuinely, is just like an open goal. But you shoot at him, it goes in every time. And Pep would still rather have that than have David De Gea in net. You can be 100% sure of that. Now, Ten Hag might not be as aggressive as Pep in the sense of like he would want sweeping above all else, but still, he will want keepers with a different profile to what David De Gea's got. He'll want keepers that are better at sweeping. And look, De Gea's doing a better job of some of the uncontested situations at the minute. But in terms of the ones where it's getting contested, I don't think he still backs his judgment yet, doesn't back his pace to get out there. And catching crosses as well is an important attribute, which is not really doing his best at the middle. Well, you
see, Alisson, yeah. He's. I feel like we think that there's like many more of those out there. Like because Alisson, if you look at Alisson and Ederson, yeah, if you look at both of them, they're both elite at distribution, elite, yeah. But the reason for me, in my opinion, anyway, the reason why Alisson excels over him is because he's a fantastic shot stopper. How many times have you seen this Liverpool team? Because you could talk about having 75% of the ball and all that, but they dominate teams. And when a team when a team counters them and they're in, a lot of times he comes to the rescue because he's a fantastic shot stopper. Not because he kicks well, not because he commands a box well, because his angles are good. And I've seen so many times I look at Liverpool, I think flipping it. That team only had one chance, and his shot stopping so elite that he's up there as well for me. So I just feel like
but that's not having 101 thing and then 50 and everything else. That's just being 100 and everything.
Yeah, but he's in a not. That's what I'm saying. There isn't many of him. Like that's what I feel like. We are thinking that there's so many people who there's so many other ones out there like him, but I just don't see it. We can see in the chat from a lot of people saying
I just
rest
was
in peace, Pele.
Whilst it was in the chat. So I was waiting for any like proper confirmation on it, but Sky News are going with it now, saying that Pele has passed away at the age of 82, according to his agent to the Associated Press. So it would have appeared that, unfortunately, it is confirmed at this point. Again, still waiting to get proper confirmation from like a Pele account or whatever, but big media publications like Sky News and that are running with it again. Pele, by all accounts, has passed away at the age of 82, according to his agent, telling the Associated Press. One of the, if not the greatest of all time. Incredibly sad, especially very poignant just after a World Cup's finish, right? About celebrating his successes. I mean, how many World Cups did he win? Was it 3? I think he holds the record for 3 World Cups. Incredible. And as someone, I can just say of my generation, obviously never watching Pele, you know, in his prime or in his pomp or whatever, he's one of those names that transcends football, transcends sport. Everyone knows who Pele is, and everyone recognizes him as one of, if not the greatest player of all time. And, you know, incredibly sad loss.
Yeah, it is, you know, and especially as, you know, Maradona's obviously passed away, and all of the noise that is obviously going around Messi being the GOAT and stuff like that with the story that happened in the World Cup, it sometimes can take the light away from people who have been there and done it first. Like Pele, I don't know if you guys have seen that clip saying everything your favorite footballer has done, Pele did it first, and it's an amazing clip. If you haven't seen it, type it in. It's literally him doing all these skills in black and white and muddy pitches. And then they fast forward with another clip of like a new school player doing it, and it's like flipping heck, he really was doing Rabonas and that, like in the 70s, in the 60s, in the 50s. Like, do you know what I mean? It's insane. So that's a really massive sad loss for football. You know, I again, way before my time, I can't profess to have watched loads of him apart from clips. Obviously, I couldn't, but just what a player, what a legend, and every player now.
And it's one of those ones, Flex, as well, isn't it? Where, like you said, you don't. Obviously, I don't think any of us here watched him in his, you know, his prime or live or anything like that. So you just know of the legend that is Pele. You just know that he's one of the greatest players.
Pele and Maradona.
But when you actually go back and watch the clips, you it even sort of baffles you, like you said, when you see those clips of him, you know, in the 60s or the late 50s, going, that is insane. Like what he's doing is what you see today on the football pitch. That is how, and that's what, like 70 years, 60 years. You know, it's on one of the best ever. And again, it's very, very sad.
100%.
I'm gonna, you know what? After this, I'm gonna call my dad, because my dad is the biggest Pele fan.
For real?
He like, that's how he made me fall in love with football. That's why I support Brazil so deeply, because my dad loves Brazil, and his dream was to one day watch Pele play football, but obviously, unfortunately, he never got to accomplish his dream. One of the reasons why I always say, you know, if you've got a favorite footballer, try and go and watch them, because life is too short, man. And I'm gonna give him a call, because he'll be heartbroken. He's the biggest Pele fan, biggest. A
lot of people's heroes, man. A lot of people's hero. Yeah. I mean, Pele's he is football, isn't he? He is football. It's sad that him and Maradona now are no longer with us. You know, I know there's that passing of the torch of Messi, you know, getting that title, and Messi kind of passing it on to Mbappe. The passing of the baton down the generations. But when you look right at the very, very top, it's those two. Do you know what I mean? So a real sad loss for football. And actually, the end of the show as well. Bit of a somber note to finish on, but actually quite a fitting enter the show to just, you know, put respect on one of the GOATs, you know, if not the
You
GOAT
can't
of the
follow
game.
him. That's the point. You
Yeah.
can't follow
Nothing
him.
should precede that.
And whilst he may no longer be with us in person, his legacy will live on forever. Nobody will forget Pele. He's not going to be one of these people that's lost to time or anything like that. His legacy is firmly entrenched in the annals of football history. So, like I said, I know what I'm going to do this evening. I'm going to go watch some Pele clips and celebrate his life, certainly.
Yeah, exactly. Just to make sure that, you know, we're respecting everybody who has obviously made contributions earlier. Just out of respect of that, I will just read out on the way out people's super chats. Myron said, I actually want us to get Felix. He is going to want to start, but Ten Hag hardly rotates a team performing well for a player he doesn't already have history. Who doesn't already have history. Remember, Casemiro was benched. Many good vibes says if it's better the devil we know. Ten Hag's plan philosophy should go in the bin. David De Gea has been great, but we need to look to always improve in all areas. Amasolo says Lafont is better than Diogo Costa. He's 23 and he's cheaper. Don't know who he is. SK says if Costa is happy being number 2 and eased into taking over De Gea, then it's fine, but we can't afford a straight switch. Lil Yo-Yo says if that's Marcel's pitch to convince me, and laughing emojis. Hakeem says this Diogo Costa propaganda needs to stop. In key moments, you always need elite shot stopping. Courtois won the Champions League final man of the match for glove work, not ball playing. Interesting point. CeeLo says, is the sin bin still available? And Hakeem says, not just Marcel, but football fans are treating David De Gea like he's some regular mortal. David De Gea is an all-timer. He's declined, but he's still better than most. Adam says, De Gea a legend. He can retire at a club for me. Lil Yo-Yo says, Marcel would be great in Parliament. If you fancy that, Marcel, being in Parliament.
Yeah. I'll be okay.
Very diplomatic, very calm. Yeah. And they lie a lot as well, so that, you know. I'm only playing. M. Sati says Marcel should be a solicitor or public prosecutor. James says his full name is Remco Pasveer. Everyone breathe. That was the keeper that you must have been talking about first. Yeah. And SK says, imagine seeing those skills back then. The defense must have been terrified. We see all this freely on YouTube. Would have been so rare to see that skill. Obviously referencing the great Pele, who has passed away, for just joining us. And you didn't know, Pele, the legend, the GOAT, has passed away at the age of 82, I believe, as well. So sad time for football. They've gained another great up there. But yeah, somber moment to finish off on. But great show, guys. Really enjoyed it as usual. And guys, remember, we'll be back with loads more content, loads more full views as well. But yeah, this is in memory of Pele. In memory of Pele. Rest in peace. A true football great. We're out of here, guys. Take care. Peace.